Okay, time for a video. I got a recent request to do, well, actually I got several requests in the past week or so. And I want to be able to respond to those. But I also want to be able to make things for the auction because I've got a trip coming up. And I need to make some car repairs. Well, maintenance on the engine. So I can't neglect the money-making aspect, but I also cannot neglect the video aspect. Got a box of odd-shaped stuff in there. I'm going to see what I can do with that stuff. This is all going to be raw. Anyway, I need to go into a deep dive into spalling and turning these clunky rocks into bifaces, right? I also need to finish my deep dive into notching because I haven't done the punch notching aspect yet. I need to do more paleo point videos like the Hell Gap, and I've got some other ones. And I'm just trying to remember what's on the list. You might be thinking, why don't you just look on the list before you start the video? Well, it already took me 45 minutes just to get set up with the minimal preparation that I've got so far. 45 minutes. Yeah, I have to have a lot of my stuff in storage. I can't be carrying everything around with me. I'm basically living a van life, living in the van. That allows me to go anywhere I want. I don't have to be tied down to one specific area. So that's really good. But there are drawbacks, like you can't store everything that you can think of in the van at the same time. So I had to go back and forth to my storage unit, and then sometimes I forget something, so I got to go all the way back over there. Like tonight, I went all the way back over there because I forgot one thing. I have a 3-pronged, or let's see, what is it called? Surge protector kind of thing. It has 3 outlets on it to attach to the one. Because I need to plug in my phone, the lamp that you see, and usually something else like a little space heater or whatever comes up. Right now it's not cold out, so I don't need the space heater anymore. But anyway, you don't need to know all that stuff. But yeah, it takes me time to get prepared for videos. I did have a setup in my old place in Texas where I could just sit down and start napping and then stop whenever I wanted to and not even clean up the place. And no one would mess with my stuff. I could just leave everything sitting and then just jump back in. The only thing different from the setup from before was the phone. Sometimes the phone is not there. When I'm not there, that's the only thing I have to set up in my other space was my phone. Here, I need to vacuum out this place. I need to make sure I don't contaminate my sleeping area with dust and chips. Definitely not obsidian flakes. I cannot have obsidian flakes in this van at all because they're sneaky. Not very fun. So I'll wait till the temperature gets better. That sort of thing. then I get people asking me, can you make this and that and this and that on the side? I didn't see it in the auction. Can you make this or that? I said, well, I can certainly try it, right? I got some free time now, supposedly. So yeah, I got some videos to do. I got some other things to do, but I can try to do that. So I trying to catch up. Always trying to catch up. Now, how successful am I in my videos? I mean, you might be asking, you make stuff for the auction, why can't you just film what you make? Yes, I know. I've tried that. And guess what happens? There's a lot of failures in what I'm doing on video, believe it or not. Like this piece here, this is a raw piece, right? I started with a pretty big chunk and it looks like I could narrow it down to a pretty, long piece. But turned out that it's very snappy. It's snapped in various areas. I'm very aggressive in the beginning because that's the best way to get it thinned down, in my opinion. And trying to capture everything that I do on video limits the amount that I can actually finish in a week. I can do a video of every attempt at making something, but I'll have very little to offer at the end of the week because it just happens that way. Setting up for the videos, actually doing the filming and reviewing the videos. Sometimes I don't post one because I mess up. I'll say something that is totally wrong. And I don't have any software, not that I can't use the software, but I don't have software to edit videos or piece them together except for a very simple program. That all it does is join them together. It doesn't do any fancy editing. It does trimming and stuff, but that's it. But I don't want to spend time editing videos at all. You'll notice that hardly any of my videos are edited. Sometimes I'll string them all together and it'll be an hour and a half long. But those take forever to upload and it's getting worse and worse. They're taking forever to upload as it is, just as 30-minute segments. But anyway, I could do everything that I make on video, but it would not be of benefit to me. And it probably won't be of benefit to you because I really can't spend time narrating. If I'm doing a video or on a project that requires a 90% chance of success, I can't be narrating and risking not being able to finish it. 90% chance of success. That's about the maximum I can hope for when I'm doing projects or something for the auction. Only 1 out of 10 can fail or I'm losing money. Normally, I could tolerate 1 out of 4 failures. But if it's coming down to where I have to depend on the income, I can only have 1 out of 10. I'm just estimating, I don't know exactly. Anyway, that's one reason I don't film everything that I'm working on. Number 2, I guess number 2 would be, I don't really like videoing every single thing. Because a lot of my stuff that I do is preparatory, just preparation for some certain things. Like I'll spall out a certain material, like Georgetown. Okay, I'll have a Georgetown nodule, a big nodule, and I'll just spall it out. But I have to do it very carefully. I could show that on video, but then I end up spalling it stupidly. So it doesn't benefit you or me because I'm not focused. Spalling is extremely difficult for everybody, experienced or not experienced. Now some guys get extremely good at it, but it's still a very difficult thing. So don't feel bad if you can't spall or remove turtlebacks or figure out how to attack the workpiece. A lot of you guys ask me, what's my exact thought process on all this? Why hit there? Why hit here? How much force? What angle? What tools am I using? How much do they weigh? How much do they wear down? What can I expect as yield if I order $100 worth of rocks? I just ordered $100 of rocks. Someone might tell me, I got nothing but gravel. How much did you spend to get good? How many videos did you watch to get good? Yada, yada, yada. Well, let's start answering some of those questions. I spent, in the beginning, on rocks, probably in the first year where I was actually knapping a lot, probably about $2,000 on gas or straight out buying rocks. I'm guessing, right? I'm not sure, but I'm guessing maybe 2,000. Because I was driving everywhere. I was spending a lot of money on gas. I was taking some trips to different nap-ins. Everything was coming out of my pocket. I wasn't selling anything at the nap-ins. I wasn't recuperating any money. That includes lost income that I could have been doing something else. There wasn't much of that because I don't do much else on the side. When I had my full-time job, I didn't do much on the side to make extra income except maybe some remodeling jobs, just basic remodeling jobs. I hate doing those, by the way. But anyway, that sort of thing. All told, about, I guess I'm just guessing, right, $2,000. So if you're not spending anywhere near that, just keep in mind that the results will vary with you. Actually, some guys don't need to spend any money at all and they get good, right? They're not spending much at all. They have stone in their backyard, or they've got people that'll supply them, no problem. And they end up spending maybe $300 to start napping what they want to nap, you know, because they've got everything free. Basically, they don't need to travel. They don't need to buy rocks. They don't need to buy tools. They don't need to spend money on copper or materials because they get that free as well. Everything's free. They go to scrap yards. They're very good at scrounging, and they pick up the skill right away. But for me, it took me some money. Still does, but I can recoup some of it. Next on the list of questions would be my tools. I have videos on my tools. I use a steel rod now. I don't even modify it at all. I just stick this behind my knee. For those of you who are new and don't know, I started with abo techniques back in the day. Sorry, I gotta clean my glasses. I'm getting dust. It settles in on my glasses when I'm doing a lot of abrading. Anyway, I started with antler behind my knee. Let's see, something like this. I can hold this behind my knee too. and use that. All right, let's see. I brought my antler tools today, and I can do the same exact thing, and this is how I started. Okay, because I was one of those new guys that would use only natural materials to start with, right? On raw stone. And who cares how tough it is? Because that's what they used. Only tough stone if it was available, right? And things went kind of okay in the beginning for me. Mostly miserable because I wasn't getting the results I wanted with just percussion and the methods that I saw back in 2009 when I started my abo flint knapping. Because it originally started in 2007 with a pair of pliers and just nipped the edges of the flint. A pair of pliers and a screwdriver for notches, and a pair of pliers to nip, just like nipping floor tile or whatever. You nip the edges and you can shape it that way just by compression. I got into using natural tools after watching several YouTube videos. Now, how many videos did I watch before I got good at flint knapping? Well, I'll tell you right now, it was not hundreds. Yeah, I think I can count them on two hands. I think the videos that influenced me in the beginning, I think there's less than 10. And I can probably name maybe 5 that are extremely influential. What did I do with my steel? Here it is. So I didn't watch a whole lot of videos. Nobody was doing what I needed. Nobody was doing anything close to what I needed. I needed the flakes to look like the flakes on artifacts that I was looking at. The artifacts I was looking at were not neat and pretty. Many of them were broken in manufacture. Many of them were broken in seemingly stupid ways, too aggressive, and a lot of bold flaking, minimal abrading, and it looked like careless asymmetry. Well, that contrasted extremely with the current videos I was watching back in 2009, where the symmetry was perfect, the flakes were consistent, all the same size basically. The techniques were very set, and there wasn't much variation. Everyone was using boppers and pads and notched hand pads, boppers and leg pads, notched hand pads, and ishi sticks, and then vertical notchers and that sort of thing. The abo guys, there was a few, they would be using techniques that required years and years of practice and not very efficient, because the tools that they were using were highly specialized. They were moose or something extremely hard antler. You had to get a special kind of antler, just not anything. And then they were using antler tines to pressure flake. Now these, they were using just anything to pressure flake, but I started pressure flaking with these. I could not get a comfortable grip on the antler tine. I don't know if it's me or what. I cannot get a comfortable grip with an antler tine for pressure flaking. I lose my mind after about 5 minutes with one of these pressure flaking. I have to use something like this with a big round handle, or the pressure flaker I developed with the part of the beam of the antler, and then I pressure flake like this. Okay, with this flat chisel tip. Okay, I hold it like a pistol grip, and flake like that. Right, I can do those two methods, or with the Ishi stick, a long Ishi stick, I can do that. All right, but not with an antler tine. So I had to develop a way that I could do most of my napping, hopefully like 80% of my napping with one technique, and that was the behind the knee thing. So that's what I developed. I put the antler tine behind my knee. It was originally on a rocker punch. Okay, no one was doing that. No one was doing the behind the knee thing, obviously. So I didn't really have that much background as far as watching videos because no one was doing what I needed. All right, that's a simple answer on that one. A lot of guys back in the day, they didn't look at artifacts in a serious way. Where is this? They didn't look at the artifacts in a serious way because they weren't trying to duplicate the process from start to finish like I was seeing. If something was broken in manufacture, I compared the artifact broken in manufacture to a flint knapper, a modern flint knapper's broken in manufacture point. A modern flint knapper's broken in manufacture point is very symmetrical, lots of edge grinding, lots of consistent flaking. It's just broken because of an inconsistency in the material or some other thing that's very difficult to control. It wasn't because of recklessness or something like that. But with the artifacts I was seeing, there were breaks because of recklessness, because of aggression, aggressive flaking, overshots that were taken from flakes that were taken in seemingly stupid areas, like shooting a flake down into the notch area at the very end of your point construction. They would do the notches first, right, and all that. Then they would thin the blade, but they would send in flakes from the edge into the notch area to thin down the blade, which is kind of stupid for modern nappers. You don't see modern nappers doing that, but you see that in the archaeological record. It's not stupid, it's just aggressive, okay? So I said to myself, I need to practice techniques that are aggressive, that are carefree, without much regard to how much they waste or how much I waste. And just go from there and just say good enough at the end. If it doesn't work out, if the notches aren't symmetrical, that's okay. If the blade is kind of wonky or something, or there's a bite taken out, that's okay. If the material is very steppy, just leave the steps in. That'll be okay. That sort of thing. I was not seeing that at all in videos in the beginning. So I didn't watch many. There was a few that I would watch on how to, my biggest problem was long flakes, like everybody else. So I'd try to pick up how to make long flakes from these various videos. And I found out that I cannot get long flakes with percussion, with freehand or lap pad percussion with a bopper or a billet very effectively. So I had to keep using my behind the knee technique for the long flakes, even the overshot type flakes I can do with indirect percussion. And I prefer to do that type of flaking that risks the overshot with the indirect percussion instead of the direct percussion. And I also do finish up with indirect. I do every stage, initial stages if I can, if I have a big enough flaker. I'll switch the power, I'll switch the mallet. Sometimes I'll use the aluminum mallet to lose less energy than with the plastic mallet. Why aluminum and plastic instead of antler? Why not? Why don't I just use antler for everything? I mean, I know how to do it, right? Why not? It would make more sense if I were to use antler for everything because I know how to do it. That's what many of you are thinking. Yes, I know how to do it, but it's not any fun. Now, some guys will having a lot of fun doing it with antler. Okay, all I can say is, yeah, all right. I mean, if that's what floats your boat. Sure, I'm not going to dispute that. But you give me an antler or a piece of steel, and then you give me a piece of hard material, difficult to knap, or just hard in general, like this piece here. Just, it's chalky, it's tough, it doesn't run long flakes easily. I am not going to be happy if I have a piece of antler to do this. Even though it might be good video content. Maybe, if I can keep it together. But I would be doing a lot more maintenance on my tools. I would be breaking the antler tips. You know, this is an indirect flaker here. It's a large one. I break the tips frequently. I gouge them out frequently. I put a lot of force behind a lot of these strikes. I break a lot of my antler stuff. How many in the steel tools do I break? Almost zero. Almost zero. The only time I break them is when I'm bending them back into shape and they'll snap. Like some of the pressure flakers that I bend, I'll bend the nail with the steel nail and I'll straighten it out again. If I do that too many times, if it bends and straightens, sometimes they'll snap it off. But I've never broken one of these indirect percussion flakers out of steel. But I've broken many antlers. If you guys are not breaking your antlers when you're doing the abo stuff, you are not aggressive enough. You have to test the limits of your material. Otherwise, you don't know how hard you can hit. I broke my first rocker punch. Well, that wasn't my first, but it was like the first thing I was using when I was trying to do indirect percussion was a rocker punch. I broke that when I was using it because I was hitting it so hard. There was two pieces of wood. I don't know. I've described this before. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's two pieces of wood that sit across your lap with a little piece of antler tied to one end, and then a pad in the middle. On two sticks is a pad in the middle, and then there's a cord that goes from the flaker that's tied around the flaker down through the two sticks, and then you step on it with your foot. That way, it'll give you some resistance backwards, right? So that the antler, you can take the workpiece, push up against the flaker, and that cord gives you some resistance, okay? And then you hit just like I'm hitting on the indirect flaker, except it's on the rocker punch, right? I hit that thing so hard, so many times, that I broke both those sticks, okay? And I said, that's it. I'm taking the antler out of that rocker punch and I'm sticking it behind my knee, and that's it. The rest is history. Okay. Now, I've said that many times. I've described that story many times. But for you new guys that want to know it, the thought processes, the experiences, and all that I went through, that's part of it. That's a big part of my experience. Now, the thought processes, I don't know if it's just me, but I prefer not to think when I'm flint knapping. I know that doesn't make sense. It doesn't help you either. But that's me. I prefer not to think. If I don't have a thought process while I'm knapping, I'm happy. Why? Because it reduces stress. If you let your subconscious do, the majority of the work, you don't have to stress out about it. You train your subconscious to carry out your will, and it will pick up subtleties over time with practice, over and over and over. I know it takes a long time to train the subconscious takes longer to train the subconscious than the conscious, but it's worth it. Just for the lack of anxiety. Okay, but I'll get into a more detailed explanation of how I'm doing this with hopefully a precise explanation of my strategy and why I hit in certain areas. But for now, this one is probably not a very good work piece to do anything with. I could probably reduce this down more, but I'm going to leave it and save it for another day. Maybe I'll heat treat it. So yeah. All right, I'll explain more of the process, of the actual process for you new guys in the next video. Okay.